Everyone. Thank you for taking the time today to join us for our 24th episode of STEM activities at home or in the classroom. It's July and the weather is hot, humid, and yet still unpredictable up here in Wisconsin. Hey, we have some great activities planned, but before we begin, I wanted to check in with our audience. Make sure to say hello. Let us know you're with us. We appreciate comments and questions while we present. And don't hesitate, don't be shy. You can let us know where you're from, what you're looking forward to most of the summer. We like the interaction. Keep in mind, we are recording this webinar. You'll have access to it following up email. Also, following the session is a survey. Please take the time to fill that out. We use this feedback to improve our webinars. And now I am going to pass it over to Josh. Take it away.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. No, it's Tuesday. Wow, I'm already off. I'm a day ahead. Usually do these on Wednesday. Happy Tuesday. It's summertime, as Jordan mentioned. Today, we're going to do a couple of summertime activities, both a fun, simple paper craft solar activity and a fun microbit activity going like beginner level and going like advanced when it comes to fun projects. So if you have any questions, throw them into the chat window or whatnot, and we will answer them. I have Pete over here to my left. Pete's there. He's doing all the fun Pete stuff that we have out there. So also throwing up some really weird stuff up on screen, as Pete's usually do. Actually, I'm saying this, I don't think we have any attendees at the moment, but hopefully some people show up. It is being recorded. But let's go over these fun activities today so we can show these things off and show you how to do these. As always, we're here with NASCO Education. There we go. And if you have any questions, you can ask Jordan here or go to, there you go, engage@nascoeducation.com. You can email Jordan directly or nascoeducation.com. NASCO carries all of our fun kits here. You can also call them too. Just ask for Jordan. He's quite the spry guy. He'll call now. And yeah, so perfect indeed. So email. So let's get down to these projects today. Right. So yay, projects. So first project, we'll put the other one aside. We're going to do something called a solar bug, which is a great either at home or distance learning or summer camp activity, scouts, 4-H, you name it. It's a great activity. We're going to switch to the overhead camera here. It works. Yay. So solar bug is a pretty simple little project. Here we have one right here. Essentially, it's a solar panel with one of our self-sticking vibrating motors attached to it. We have it on a nice little cardstock template, one of several that we have in our kits. And we have some little googly eyes on the bottom, self-sticking googly eyes. Do a little rattling sound effect. It also helps it move around the table pretty darn well. So this project is great because you only need a pair of scissors and maybe some colored pencils, hopefully, to put this project together, because everything you need is in the box to make this, which makes it a great distance learning activity for kids who might not be able to, join a group, or just parents looking for something fun for the kids on the weekend. But it's a really great little project. It takes about 10 minutes to do. We recommend ages 10 and up for this project, just because a little bit of scissor cutting skills involved. It is not a difficult project for most kids to complete entirely on their own with included directions that we have. So let me grab here. So our kit comes with, oh, actually, there we go. Here's the bag, a bag of stuff. Here's a little mini bag. We have little 4-packs as well that NASCO carries, as well as a big classroom set that looks like this with all the materials we need for 25 on the inside. We're gonna toss that off screen. It's an empty box. It's an empty box. Thanks, Pete. So this is a little mini bag I put together of some supplies for myself so I wouldn't forget them. And so the box has, of course, lots and lots and lots of these on hand. So in our kits, we come with 4 different cards. This is card number 1 with the first 2 designs on there. We have a bunch of different bugs here. So we have a ladybug on this one and our stag beetle. It's kind of our go-to to use one of these two, because you want to go with the stag beetle, you want to have a cool ladybug. I'm kind of a ladybug kind of guy, but I had pre-cut out the stag beetle for some reason over here to my right. But we have these guys. We also have a little mini direction set right here that tells you how to put it together, because it is a pretty quick and easy activity. Now, for those people who are like, hey, I want a bigger direction set, we do have 8.5 by 11 size bigger directions, as well as a fun video. That's right, Pete. We have a fun step-by-step video, so you can watch along and be like, ooh, listen to these cool people make a cool solar bug. Now, Pete, since the solar bug is a fun solar activity, and unfortunately we are inside of a building, do you have a fun video clip? That would be, we could show the fine people at home. I don't think audio will work with Zoom in our current setup, but we can show the cool video clip of them working.
Yeah, we've got a little test here.
So Pete's gonna throw that up on screen. Good old Pete. I'm like half in screen. There we go. There.
Look at those little bugs go.
Yeah, they move pretty well. We're just using a piece of acrylic outside. We had a piece of like acrylic we use in our warehouse, but any smooth surface works just fine. Like a tabletop works great. Really anything that's relatively smooth. So like concrete is a no-go because of how porous and rough it is, but a nice smooth surface works pretty darn well, and it does nice little vibration to it. Now, the best part about these, Pete, for me is that they never run out of power as long as you have sunlight. It doesn't take much sun, and they just vibrate forever.
Won't the sun burn out, Josh?
Eventually in billions of years, Pete. Thanks for reminding us about an inevitable like solar heat death. Thanks, Pete. Science. Good times. So it's great though. It's a good activity because it never, ever runs out of power. You want to have a fairly flat surface as well. Get a message from Jordan. It's like, will it work on an incline? It's not really inclined to do so. You want a fairly flat, smooth surface. Like outside, we just had it on the grass, so it's kind of not perfectly level, but they do tend to kind of go downhill if you have any sort of like incline, just because it is a vibration-based aspect. So the other parts that we use are, we have some of our really awesome nylon conductive maker tape. We use that to attach the solar panel and the little self-sticking motor together. If you really wanted to, you could solder these, but that's too much work for this kind of project. So all I have to do is attach the self-stick the motor to the solar panel, like so, if I would stick it on there, and then attach the wires to these two little silver dots there with some tape, which looks just like this. Yay. And the best part is, to be very accurate, you could be fairly sloppy with that. And our kits come with about 50 times more tape than you actually need. I'm not kidding. The classroom set comes with 65 feet of tape, and you really need about 12 inches of tape.
Is that some special tape, Josh?
It is. It's our nylon conductive tape. Don't take any substitutes. Our tape is the bee's knees. By the way, a bee is one of the many insects we have in our kit. But it's nice and strong and flexible tape. It's very, very sturdy. It's great for all sorts of projects. We use it for everything because it is amazing. Hey, Pete, what do we think about copper foil tape?
Copper foil.
What does copper foil sound like?
Copper foil.
There we go.
That's what we want to do to it.
Yay, bye-bye copper foil. We also include a piece of double-sided foam tape here to attach the solar panel to our bug body. And then the bottom, the googly eyes just go on there, which is then gives a nice smooth surface, like casters to go on there, and a little extra sound effect as well. Now, the cool thing about these are, yes, it's kind of a funny, silly thing to build. I mean, as an adult, I could quickly cut out a bug like so, attach my parts in all of 30 seconds if I wanted to, because I am an adult with good dexterity. Kids might take that 5 to 10 minute range, especially cut things out neatly. We have bug legs and wings you can print off and give to kids if they want to use those. You know, they get a color and decorate their bugs galore. Everybody has a different bug, which is nice, and that little personalized touch for the students. Every kid likes it when their bug looks different than the next person's. That we do have lesson plans with these as well. It can be a good teaching tool, not just a fun tool. Now, the cool activity we have is a pretty simple one, something I actually used back myself when I taught elementary and middle school science, just with not as a fun project. What you do is you use different light sources around a classroom. Maybe you have an incandescent light, an LED light. If you, depending on your classroom, a candle. Open flames in the classroom may or may not work. They have different types of light bulbs around that are very markedly, visibly different. LED, incandescent, and halogen lamps, which you don't find too often anymore because they are hot. Those are really nice to have as well, because all those light sources really stink for making a solar panel work. They're the wrong wavelength. Halogens put out a ton of heat, but also do have a very intense amount of energy, light energy coming off of it. LEDs are very bright visible light, but not the type of wavelength to get this going. Incandescents maybe kind of sort of, but they also have that middle ground of heat and light. But what you do is you have the kids take a ruler and take your bug and go 3 inches away, 2.5, 2, so on and so forth, and measure like when will that thing go off if it does. The halogen lamp, it'll probably trigger. Incandescent, give or take how strong your incandescent is, maybe. LED won't. So they do that. Will it actually trigger it? How far away are you? And then also use your hand about 1 inch away and feel, is it hot or cold? Then use your eyes to see what kind of brightness is it. Is it a good bright light? Is it a bad bright light? Like, even just rate them. Basically, we're having kids do minor, very simple data collection to compare after the fact, like a good science classroom would. And then you also have the sun. And we all know the sun is 93 million miles away, give or take, depending on the time of the year, because Pete, elliptical orbit.
Right.
Elliptical orbit. It's not a circle, it's an elliptical orbit. Then you can talk about that. Like the sun is very far away and it's all types of light waves coming off of it, whereas we can only do so many on our own. So we can talk about different types of light, which is a really nice concept that even a 4th or 5th grade kid can grasp using their eyes, their hands, and feeling heat, light, and vibration. So it's a very nice, simple activity where the kid's gonna go home with one of these to show off and tell everybody, and it'll work forever. So that's the best part. Put in a window and have it rattle every morning when the sun hits it. It'll be fantastically
Well,
annoying.
hold on. What if there's UV coating on the glass?
Oh, Pete, you bring up a very good point, and occasionally a customer service phone call we receive.
Yeah.
Modern day windows often have a UV treatment on them to protect us from harmful UV rays. Thanks, Pete. And so whenever you get a phone call like that, I ask the teacher, like, open the window. Does that work? Yes. Which is also a really good learning example too. If you actually have a window like that, you can have the kids, okay, one side it goes, one side it doesn't. Why? What is different about glass versus this? Or if you even want to as well, you could always get a piece of UV treated material and use that as a prop in your classroom to have kids then test under. What is different about these two things? So the light's coming through just fine. It's about the same amount of brightness. Obviously, it's not an issue. So that's a really, again, a fun thing to do. Or tinted sunglasses sometimes work as well in the pinch if you get like really cheap ones or really big cheap one, big aviator. But anyway, it's a really simple activity, and this even works, scales up well like middle school kids as well. Although eventually you get diminishing returns based on the curmudgeon-y nature of middle school students.
Will it work at night?
Will it work at night? It will, as long as you have an artificial light source that makes it work.
What if you're in an area of the world where the sun shines at night?
Well, then you're probably fine if you're in Antarctica or the Arctic
Yeah.
during the like 30 days
Right.
or so. If you're
Okay, good.
in Scandinavia or whatnot, they get light so many hours. Scandinavia. Anyway, so that's this project. It's a great summer activity because it's easy, it's fun, it's straightforward. It's also very inexpensive. The classroom pack, I believe it's like $4 a child is the price NASCO has. For 25 packs, $100 for that set. Very affordable for something that the kids get to take home with them. Oh, if kids want to make their own solar bugs as well, we have a question. Own solar bugs, you can just design your own bug. This is just a piece of cardstock. And we do have lots of different templates. Our kits do come with six or 8 designs. Now I'm forgetting. Coming with multiple cards, and you can just make your own too, which is fine. Use a piece of cardboard. That works fine. Use a piece of
Like a cereal box.
cereal box. That's what I'm looking for. A cereal box cardboard is like great because it's a pretty heavy, but without being gigantic. And it's pretty easy to still cut with a pair of scissors for most people. So anyway, moving on. That's project 1. 1 of 2. 1 down. I'm gonna shuffle these little doodads off to the side, put it back in my bag for later.
Uno dos. All right.
Numero dos.
Uno of dos.
Uno of dos.
I don't know.
We should have Andy in here. Our curriculum writer, Andy does speak pretty darn good, pretty darn decent Spanish. Unlike, say, Pete and I.
Yeah.
Put the things back where they go. There we go. So yay, paper circuits. And this is why we like our maker tape. It works well for connecting parts together because it's conductive on top and bottom, unlike that darn copper foil tape, which I'm sure we all have to deal with. All right, that's project number 1. We have another project, which is a microbit project. This is a microbit project. There we go. So this is a really fun project, which is actually surprisingly simple despite mass metal Lego on here. And it's a perfect summer activity. I know my toddler enjoys this. So we press a button. This is an automatic bubble blowing machine. So instead of buying one of those fancy bubble blowing machines from your local mega store, you can just make your own with a microbit. Oh yes, it is pretty darn silly. It's also very simple and a great project because there's not a whole lot to it. And it utilizes quite a few different building and learning points, objectives. There we go. There's a lot to learn from this, despite the fact it is quite simple. So we have our microbit, a fun little programmable board here, which a lot of people have used. If you don't know what the microbit is, it's a nice little all-in-one little programming platform. We have our Crazy Circuits bit board, which is this green adapter here that it plugs into. And that lets us plug in a bunch of other things to it and expand the capabilities of the microbit. We have a little push button right here to turn this thing on and off, just a little push button. We have a little servo here, which is Lego compatible, one of our Lego compatible servos that comes in our kits. And we have a bunch of Lego because our stuff is very Lego compatible. We're using some of our maker tape here, which is the same tape we used before, just a little thinner version to go along on our circuit board of Lego here. And we have this random, just standard off the shelf little DC motor with a fan on it. Those are very common. I think we just grabbed one off of the big drawer of motors that we just thought would work. And we got a couple batteries. So it's a pretty darn simple thing. Oh, and we also have here the wand out of a cheap bubble kit we got off the internet, and a little cup to stick the bubble juice into. Now, here's the thing. I can talk about bubbles all day long, but I think Pete might want to show you the fun shot of it actually working with bubbles.
Oh, yes, we do have that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Oh, what's the name?
Perfect, Pete. There we go. That's the fun, like in the photography video studio area shot of things. It looks
I
real.
forgot one more thing. So this is
Oh.
oops, that's the diagram. Sort of.
That is a diagram.
Yeah, so it's but it looked kind of jumbled with all the layers we have there. But
Oh, yes, sure. That's a little more clean version. Pete makes a really good infographic. But essentially, what we have here, we have our little AA battery pack right here is just powering our microcontroller. And we have a microcontroller here on our bit board. We have a built-in thing called a relay. And a relay basically is a fancy way to turn a dumb switch on and off. And the dumb switch is just turning on and off this motor, which is powered by the 9-volt battery here. Our servo, which is plugged into our bit board, goes up and down, is controlled and powered by the setup right here. So it's not a whole lot to it. It's just a lot of Lego, which makes it look a little funky. But I like this because I like when kids can make their own toys, not just making a thing to make a thing. I know that's a lot of what we do in classrooms frequently, or even sometimes I'm making a Lego project, making a little Falcon or X-Wing or something. You make it, it's done. Especially as adults, we kind of tend to make things, especially silly things, and just put them on the shelf. But this is a fun thing that kids can play and use and change things around on. And then also try out different things like different fans or different motors to see what might actually work as a better bubble blower. Because when it comes down to it, all your off-the-shelf bubble blowers are essentially is one motor, maybe two, and going through some liquid. But a relay is a really fun thing because you can always switch out this buzzer here, or sorry, this fan with a buzzer, or other silly DC devices, lights. Mechanical buzzers are fun. Motor. I think those are like the three everyone uses. Lights, motors, mechanical buzzers are the three things that we use the silly DC motors relays for. There we go. But this is a really great and simple project, especially when you want to do some basic programming with the kids. And the best thing too with Lego, you can always rearrange things, a little minor bit of engineering to build a spot for your motor to hang out. And the secret to our motor hanging out up there is a little bit of tape underneath the Lego. We have a little piece of folded over tape underneath. And that's it. It's just very simple and straightforward. And the nice part is with Microsoft MakeCode, which is what you use to program this, it's very simple programming wise to do the drag and drop interface for things. And Pete, any chance you can show us that?
Sure.
I don't know if you had that queued up or not.
Talking,
All right. So yeah, we like to micro just for the simplicity of the build process and how easy it is to change things up. And this is just kind of a more complicated project with air quotes, because it really isn't complicated for how it's all hooked together. Just looks a bit jumbled with all these wires. There we go. And Pete actually went a little bit further. He actually has the MakeCode. Oh my gosh, has the microbit display on the front to have two little graphics on there to make it look even more fancy. Little matrix. So there's not a whole lot of code to it, and we always have the code available with our projects. So if you don't want to, say, drag and drop your own, it's not really right, it's drag and drop. Yes, it's writing. You can always.
Josh, I think it's good because we provide it. That's a good starting point. People can always try new things, change it around, see what they can do.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the thing with this kind of setup, you can always change things around as much as you want. It's like Lego. That's why I like the mechanics of it. Just makes it really, really simple for kids to build things. Even actually for adults too, because mechanical stuff is always very annoying for a lot of projects. It's making things out of cardboard, making things out of wood. Lego is just quick and easy. Also looks good on film. It always looks nice on camera because it's bright and shiny. But mechanics always trips people up. And as much as we love using things, making things out of cardboard, we have so many cardboard things around here. Lego is quick and easy and sturdy, and everyone has them in their home. Especially if you have kids, guaranteed to probably have Legos in your home. Although we have met people who've never had Legos, never have owned any. Lego, not Legos. That's Legos plural.
Right.
The Lego purists will come after you, Pete.
I didn't say it.
I've seen the Facebook posts. Anywho, so that's this project, and this is it. We're not going to build this because it's just plugging a couple things in, which is also a good part about this. Just plugging a couple things in. We used a little screw terminal here. You don't have to use a screw terminal. You just use our tape to tape things down. We just did this a little more secure. We use a switch here as well. That one of our switches. You can make a switch out of paper. We make a lot of paper switches. Pete makes a really wicked cardboard knife switch, which you could use for this as well. We always love combining different weird projects, but drop the knife switch to turn on the gigantic weird bubble blower. But so, oh well, it's pretty good little project, and it's a good one for the kids to make and then have fun with on their own. That's the thing, making a toy, making a fun thing they can show off to their friends, and that's always helpful. Or post on social media. Oh, because I hear that's what kids are into these days.
Josh, I think the upgrade for this is if we add a distance sensor, so when you get close enough, it blows bubbles right in your face.
Actually, that's a really good point, Pete. You could, instead of having the push button here, you could have it triggered by a simple distance sensor, which is a really easy thing to drag in the block for that and have that be the trigger instead of the push button. So yeah, if somebody walks by, just have it on somewhere, walks by, it just goes and blows bubbles. Especially if, like, say, a dog that loves bubbles, like some dogs really love bubbles. Just do that. Dog walks by an area, bubbles blow, it can attack the bubbles and then just keep itself occupied for a few hours. I mean, get that Jack Russell Terrier, worn out a bit in the day. But these little distance sensors, we use those in quite a few of our projects and include them in some of our kits. Now, NASCO carries several of our bitboard kits, which are the adapters that come for the microbit here. You can plug in a bunch of things, just makes it really easy to plug in a ton of things and works with all the directions and code and resources we have galore for this, as well as our curriculum, which we just started posting for the microbit as well. So you can actually could totally make this with our curriculum material, provided you had a random motor with a fan on it. And actually took some time. That's the hard part about this. Wasn't anything else. It was trying out a bunch of different motors we had to find out which one had the most output power, blow power on it to actually forcefully push out bubbles, and it has a pretty good amount of kick behind it for a random little motor we had in a drawer here at our office. So those are our two projects for the day. So Solar Bug, great younger kid project, great summer activity, great scout activity, home distance learning activity, and our bubble blower, which is a really silly, fun summer activity project to annoy people with. Now, Pete, I guess if you were like in somewhere extremely cold, you could take the bubble blower and blow bubbles out the window and watch the bubbles kind of freeze in midair. For like Siberia, I see those videos where
one of those places where it's sunlight for 6 months and then no sunlight.
Toronto? No, Canada's nice.
Yeah.
Seattle, it's more like rain. But it's a great project. We have those directions up on our website. NASCO has these wonderful kits. And if you have any questions, talk to Jordan at NASCO Education at these fine contact points.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
There we go. Pete's leaving me hanging. Like, there you go, Pete.
Email.
NASCO Education. You can call.
They got another website there.
I forgot about NASCOeducate.com. I'm sorry. I was thinking NASCO Education. Or also follow NASCO on social media by these fun social media links that we have prepared. Look how professional that looks, Pete. Looks so
It
good.
looks very good. Well, thank you so much, Josh. And thank you, Pete, for also some assistance. My name is Jordan Nelson. I'm one of the customer engagement managers at NASCO. I was your main host today. If you have questions following up this video or interested in some of the guides to build some of these projects or even to buy materials, as they were saying, you can reach out to us at engage@nascoeducation.com. I did want to reiterate a few things. This is recorded, so you will be able to see a recording afterwards. There is a survey that follows after this. And if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to follow up with us. Thanks again for joining us for some of these different summer activities you can do. Definitely really cool, interested. I think I know what I'm going to be doing this summer. So thanks again so much, and everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, everyone.